All right, guys, today we're revamping the swing out bumper. There's a story behind the reason why, and it has been something on my mind for a while now. If you watched previously in my video here, I think here, we made this swing out with, you know, a few $100 worth of materials and did a lot of time, labor, measurements, cutting, welding, all that kind of stuff to fabricate a dual swing out, well, I guess single swing out with two things on it. Today, we're separating it, we're cutting it in half and making it a pure dual swing out, a real dual swing out. Apologize for the wind, guys, here. So I'm excited. This is something that should have been done before, but I've waited too long. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of dive right into it. So first, before I take the arm off, I'm gonna figure out where I wanna cut. So I think I'll just cut right here because there's access. I can weld stuff up to the frame here. Right now, I inquired with 4x Innovations to partner, get some of their stuff, their materials to kind of sponsor this build. Haven't heard back from them yet. So for now, what I'm gonna do, because it's been a problem, is I'm just gonna cut right here, take the jerry can off, and then cut off the handle here and relocate it down here to make this a single swing out for now. So we'll start by marking where I want to cut here. Cut down there. I'll end up capping this. So now we're going to take off all of the stuff. Take out the can. I was driving down the road and all of a sudden people were looking at me weird, driving up next to me. And I was, you know, waving, oh, hey, whatever. Then my attention goes to my driver's side mirror, and I see my tire on the side, and I'm like, why is the tire looking like that? And I realized that the swing out had kerklunked open. Now, I think that issue could be solved by not necessarily having to divvy up, like do the full dual swing out, but by replacing the actual handle and latch system, just making it better locking potentially. We're just gonna do it right and kind of take a hint from what actually happened that went wrong. The separation of the tire carrier itself is done. I just gotta do some painting in the morning, but we're gonna get the tire put on there, get this bad boy wrapped up. I've got a camping trip to take, so we'll take the rig out, and then once we get the parts from Adam from 4x Innovations, we'll slap together the second part of the swing out and call this thing a wrap.
Good, how are you? Don't mind me.
You welded?
Yeah, doing some welding, doing some cutting, yeah.
All right, guys, so we have this spring pin, T-pin weldable kit from 4x Innovations. We also have this 1-inch drilled 1.5 by 1.5 inch steel plate that I have marred up now, so I'm going to straighten this out, fix it up a little bit, and then weld it onto the swing out arm. This is going to drop in here. It looks like I'll have to do a little bit of fitment, and then it'll interface nicely with the swing out arm. So let's get that going to securely be able to run the spare tire. All right, so for this part, you want to take the plastic handle out because you don't want to weld that. It'll melt the plastic. So you're going to drop this barrel in. How hot are we talking? Not too hot. And effectively, I want this barrel to be flush with the frame. Okay, so that's the witness mark. When you're trying to make a hole in the frame of the truck, it's easier to kind of step up in size with the drill bits you're using. Also, using really sharp, brand new or newish drill bits is going to make a world of difference here, and I saw that because using some of my older ones took me literally forever, and then when I went ahead and got new cobalt. Dude, that's not going anywhere, bro. Let's go. I don't think... Alright, so here we got some accessories, bolt, nut, bearing stuff for the hinge kit. The hinge itself right here. Bada bang, bada bang. The skid plate. This is the big chungus that I will weld up. That'll weld up to the bar. What else we got in here? We got the license plate bracket. This will go somewhere. LED license plate. Oh shit, the light fastener. Those fasten the license plate down, and these wires will go to... I don't know how I'm gonna route these wires, man. Show it off. It's perfect. I like it. It's great. To show it, you pull up, boom, boom, bang, bang, bada, boom. Sexy. All right, so this is a 1 1/4 inch hole saw. All right, so next we'll take this nut, this big guy right here, and we'll tack that in like right about there. To kind of hold the nut in place in the hole where you want it, I just used needle nose pliers and then tacked it up. Okay, so for the finish welds, I put the bolt inside of the nut to protect the threads from getting weld splatter. It might look like that I'm welding the bolt to the nut, but do not do that. Next is to work on the actual swing out arm portion. There we go. So we'll have to weld this up to the hinge. Do some cuts there to make it happen, and then we'll have to put this license plate mount. The license plate bracket or the mount, I just tacked it up in I think 4 or 5 different places and then called that good for the welds. To make a half circle cut, I drew a line around the hinge that I'm going to mount up and interface, and then I just made vertical lines going to that mark that I drew with the paint pen. After making a bunch of vertical line cuts, you just kind of use the angle grinder to shave off the little teeth-like bits. The cut wasn't perfect, so I did use a grinding disc to kind of even it out and make it fit to the hinge a little bit better. Installing the skid plate's pretty easy. It just requires a Phillips head, and then I did use a ratchet to get a more straighter approach on one of the screws. All right, so for the bearings, you're gonna rinse and repeat, do the exact same thing on the other side. You're gonna grease them up, get some grease in there, put the seal on like so, and then you might want to drive it in with a sealer, bearing seal pusher. Grab the hammer. And that guy's on. Then you'll drop this metal thing in. This is where the bolt goes through. Good. With the drilling, with the marking, with the cutting, it's the same step here as was used for the tire swing out arm, so just rinse and repeat here. These heavy-duty latches are just on Amazon. They're pretty cheap, but they are high quality and I think will last for the long term. Next, using a 19mm socket, you can kind of adjust up and down the tension to exactly how tight or loose you want the latches to be when they hook up. All right, so the license plate game plan is I removed one of the lights that light up the plate in the factory location, and I'll use these wires to run wires that connect the two LEDs onto the new plate location to power those lights. Right now I'm just removing the protective layer on each of these wires to expose them so I can do some soldering. Now I'll use a heat gun to shrink this protective tubing. I tried to get a bunch of different tools underneath the rear tailgate release, but unfortunately there just wasn't enough room and the wires and the license plate light weren't long enough, so I ended up having to cut a little bit of the plastic out so that I would just be able to have access to tie up the wires, solder them together, and heat shrink the tubing. So it's not very pretty, I will admit, but it does work and it's effective enough for my purposes, as well as the gas can and the tire do kind of cover it up. All right, guys, so I'm pretty excited, pretty stoked about where we've landed with the finished product here. Going from a single swing out with a lot of weight on one arm on one hinge, and it just didn't look quite right, especially when it was open. The arm would kind of sag under the weight, even though I did reinforce it with a steel bar against the frame. I'm super happy with where we're at. Last, I'll show you one more function check here. Both the handles just pop off. You release these two pins, and then you just swing that bad boy open. Wiring for the lights, everything works, everything's functional. Then you just release the tab here, pull up there, and that slots into place. And then rinse and repeat for this side. Last but not least, you flip the latches up and you're all secure, good to go. Huge thanks to Adam over at 4x Innovations. Make sure to check out their stuff. They might have some Black Friday stuff going on. I'm not sure. I haven't heard from Adam yet. But 4x Innovations has other stuff besides just like swing out accessories. They have a lot of off-road focused accessories for Toyotas, Jeeps, all kinds of vehicles. So it's not just limited to Toyota. Hopefully, I might discuss with Adam getting a set of rock sliders to install and DIY a little bit on the Cruiser here. So you guys might be seeing another 4x Innovations video in the future. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was informational or just fun to watch. If you have any questions about the swing out setup or anything, just leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Appreciate your time. Stay safe out there and God bless.